Imagine it is 5:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. You are sitting in gridlock traffic, the neon brake lights in front of you blurring into a dull headache. You just spent 9 hours at the office, but your day actually started at 7 a.m. when you jumped in the shower to look professional. You've been on for 11 hours, yet your paycheck only reflects 8. Most people believe that if they signed a contract for $70,000 a year, they are actually making $70,000. This is the first great lie of the modern economy. In reality, you are a business with massive overhead. When a corporation looks at its health, it doesn't look at revenue. It looks at net profit. But when you look at your life, you only see the gross salary. Between federal and state taxes, you have already lost 25 to 30%. But that is just the visible tip of the iceberg. We are living in a high cost of working era. You are paying a work tax every single day. You pay for the fuel to get to the cubicle. You pay for the business casual wardrobe that you wouldn't wear otherwise. You pay for the $15 salad because you were too exhausted to chop vegetables at 10 p.m. the night before. When you subtract the taxes, the gas, the car insurance, and the professional maintenance, that $70,000 starts to look a lot more like $45,000. You aren't earning what you think you are. You are running a low-margin business where you are the only employee, and your biggest client, your boss, is getting a massive discount on your life. If you want to stop feeling broke, you have to stop looking at the gross number and start auditing the cost of goods sold, which is your energy and your existence. Let's talk about the math of time, because time is the only currency you can't earn back. Your contract says 40 hours a week. That is a mathematical fiction. To give your employer those 40 hours, you have to donate an additional 15 to 20 hours of shadow work. Shadow work is the 45-minute commute each way. It is the hour you spend Sunday night feeling a pit of anxiety in your stomach, mentally preparing for the Monday morning meeting. It is the time you spend at the dry cleaners, the time you spend scrolling through emails while sitting on the toilet, and the 30 minutes you need to stare at a wall when you get home. Just to feel human again, if we take your net income, the money you actually keep, and divide it by your true hours, the time your job actually steals from your week, your hourly wage collapses. That prestigious $40 an hour job suddenly reveals itself to be $14 an hour. In late 2025 and moving into 2026, the boundary between work and life has dissolved. Remote work was supposed to fix this, but for many, it just turned their home into a 24-hour office. You are being held captive by the expectations of availability. If you are checking a Slack message at 8 p.m., you are working for free. When you calculate your real hourly wage using 60 hours instead of 40, you might realize that the teenager working at the local park has a higher profit margin than you do. They have zero commute, zero dress code, and zero shadow work. They are selling their time at retail. You are selling yours at a deep wholesale discount. Why is it that the harder we work, the more we seem to spend? It is called decompression spending, and it is a silent killer of wealth. This is the $50 Friday night delivery order because you were too fried to cook. It is the $200 retail therapy session where you buy gadgets you don't need to feel a fleeting sense of control. It is the expensive $5,000 vacation you book not because you love the destination, but because you desperately need to escape your reality. This is a cycle of earning to tolerate. You work a high-stress job that damages your mental health, so you spend the money from that job to repair the damage. It is like pouring water into a bucket with a massive hole in the bottom. You tell yourself, I earned this, or I deserve this treat because my week was hell. But mathematically, that treat is just another work-related expense. If you didn't have the high-stress job, you wouldn't need the $10 craft beer every night to take the edge off. You wouldn't need the expensive gym membership you never use because you're too tired, or the premium streaming services you binge watch just to turn your brain into mush. The system is designed to keep you in this loop. It wants you exhausted so that you become a passive consumer. An exhausted person doesn't look for a better investment strategy. An exhausted person clicks order now on a $45 pizza. This is the ultimate accounting fraud. You are treating your coping mechanisms as luxury spending when they are actually maintenance costs for a broken engine. Until you recognize that your job is forcing you to spend your own salary to survive the job itself, you will never be free. Once you find your real hourly wage, let's say it's $12 an hour, after all the forensic accounting, the way you look at the world must change. This is the your money or your life philosophy. From this moment on, nothing costs money. Everything costs life. When you see a new smartphone for $1,200, do not look at the price. Look at the 100 hours of your life it represents. That is 2.5 weeks of sitting in meetings you hate, dealing with a boss who doesn't appreciate you, and missing your kids' soccer games. Is that phone worth 100 hours of your finite time on Earth? When you realize that a $60 dinner out is actually 5 hours of labor, the food starts to taste different. You start to realize that you are trading your youth for plastic junk and temporary status. This realization is the only way to break the golden handcuffs. We often chase promotions for an extra $10,000 a year, but if that promotion adds 10 hours of stress a week and requires a nicer car or a more expensive wardrobe, your real hourly wage might actually go down. You could be processing more money through your bank account while actually becoming poorer in terms of time and freedom. The rich understand this. They don't buy things, they buy time. They hire people to do their shadow work so they can focus on high-margin activities. If you are selling your life at $12 an hour to buy things you don't need, you are losing the game of capitalism. Let's perform a brutal audit of the vampire costs. These are the expenses that only exist because you have a job. First, the commute. The average person spends thousands of dollars a year on gas, tires, and oil changes just to get to the building where they make the money. If you drive 30 minutes each way, that is an hour of unpaid labor every single day. Second, the appearance tax. You can't roll out of bed and go to the office in your pajamas. You need suits, blouses, dry cleaning, and haircuts. You are spending money to look like someone who makes money. It is a costume you are required to wear, and you are the one footing the bill. Third, the convenience tax. Because you are at the office from 9 to 5, you pay for the dog walker, the childcare, and the pre-washed lettuce. You are paying other people to do the tasks you are too busy or too tired to do yourself. If you didn't have the job, these costs would vanish. When you add up these vampire costs, you realize that a huge portion of your salary is just being recycled back into the economy to support your ability to keep working. You are a human battery, and the system is draining you. Every dollar of work expense you cut is a dollar of pure freedom. If you can negotiate working from home 2 days a week, you aren't just saving gas. You are giving yourself a massive raise by reducing your overhead and reclaiming your shadow hours. The system relies on you being too exhausted to do this math. They want you to think I make good money, so you keep signing the lease on the luxury apartment and financing the $50,000 car. But the secret to wealth isn't income, it's margin. If you make $100,000 a year but spend $95,000 to generate it, you are a failing business. You are one bad week away from collapse. But if you make $50,000 a year, spend $20,000, and work 30 hours a week, you are a highly profitable, robust enterprise. You are winning. The goal is to increase the gap between what you earn and what it costs you to earn it. This weekend, I want you to sit down and run the numbers. Calculate your real hourly wage. Write it on a sticky note and put it on your credit card. The next time you go to buy something stupid, look at that number. Ask yourself, am I willing to trade 8 hours of my life for this? That friction will save you more money than any budget app ever could. We are living in an era where time is becoming the ultimate currency. Don't sell your time at a discount. Audit your life, cut the vampire costs, and start building the gap where your freedom lives. If this video made you rethink your paycheck, hit that subscribe button. We are all in this trap together, but we can math our way out of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.